Let's go on and look at the next example from chapter 25. Will be number 4. It begins here. We have Yikra'u el Adonai va'Adonai yastir et panaiv mehem ba'et hahi ki lo kidshu et shemo hagadol. So the beginning, Yikra'u, we have kara, and note that kara is preceded by a yod with a hirik, and that could be nafal or kal. The R1 letter has a shawa, so we're looking at a kal imperfect. The yod tells us third masculine, and the shurek tells us plural. And so we have they called El Adonai, to the Lord. They called to the Lord, and, or perhaps but, the Lord yastir. Now here we have our root satar. We have a yod with a patak in front of it. That's our dead giveaway. We're looking at a hifil, along with the fact that we have a hirik yod as our theme vowel. So a hifil imperfect, that's what that yod tells us. It also tells us it's a third masculine something. There's no ending, so it's third masculine singular. Hifil imperfect 3ms of satar, and that would be he will hide. In this case, the Lord will hide. Et panaiv. The Lord will hide his face. Mehem, okay, from them. Here we have the preposition min in the inseparable form, lengthened before a guttural. And so we have mehem, from them, ba'et hahi. Okay, so now we have a bait preposition. The patak would be there for a definite article, but notice that we have a guttural. So for an ayin, the patak lengthens to a kametz. So we have ba'et. 8 is time. And then we have this adjective, hahi. This is definite because there was a definite article that was swallowed up by the preposition. And then we have a definite article here, so this is also definite. So this adjective matches indefiniteness, so it refers back to time, so that would be in that time. In that time. So go back to the first part of this verse then. They called to the Lord, and the Lord hid his face from them at that time, or in that time. Ki lo kiddushu, for, and we have kiddushu. Notice that we have a first root vowel here is a hirik. Our root is kadash, and we have then a doubled second letter. So we're looking at a PL perfect, and the shurek at the end tells us it's third common plural. For they did not sanctify, or they did not make holy, et shemo. Here we have his name, and then we have, notice this is definite because of the pronominal suffix, and then we have an adjective following it that's also definite. So we can say that this adjective goes with this noun, and literally this would be, they did not sanctify his name the great, but we would say his great name. That's how we would translate that. For they did not sanctify his great name. Let's go back to the whole sentence now. They called to the Lord, and the Lord hid his face from them at that time, for they did not sanctify his great name. Let's look at number 7 now. Bayamim hahem hagoyim yibakashu et Adonai ushe'erit amo bekavetz yachdav. Okay, so we have here the Zakev Katon is telling us that we sort of have a break here. Bayamim hahem, we have in, literally in the days, those. The haim is referring back to this. Notice this is definite. The preposition has a patach and a doubling of the first letter of the noun yamim. And so we're looking at a definite yamim, and we're looking at a definite adjective here. So in those days, hagoyim, this would be the nations, yibakashu. Now here we have bakash, here's our root. We have a yod, which is one of our imperfect prefixes, and we have a vowel here, is a vocal schwa. That's telling us piel or pual. And note that the R1 vowel is a patach. That's telling us piel. Yibachashu. Notice that there is not a Dagers forte. This is again is one of our Schemen Levi letters, and the S here refers to any of the sibilants, we call them, which would be Samik, Tzade, Seen, or Sheen. Okay, so any of those, along with Kof, Mem, Nun, Lamed, Vav, or Yod, if there is a vocal schwa, sometimes the Masoretes would leave out the Dagers forte. So we have Yibakashu, but we already know it's a piel because we have the vocal schwa prefix vowel and the patach R1 vowel. So it's a piel imperfect. Yod tells us it's third masculine something, and the shurek tells us it's third masculine plural. Piel imperfect, third masculine plural of bakash. They will seek. And here we have who's going to seek? The hagoyim, the nations, will seek. So we have a masculine plural noun, subject, going along with the verb, third masculine plural. The nations will seek at Adonai, will seek the Lord. Let's move on now. U'she'erit, and this is one of our vocabulary words, just means the remainder or the remnant, and it's in construct here with amo. This is definite, and so the whole construct package becomes definite. This becomes the remnant of his people, the remnant of his people, and then we have a verb that describes what the remnant is going to do. We have tikavetz. So we have kavatz is our root pretty clearly. We have a tav prefix with a hirik, and that can be kal or nafal, but we have the R1 vowel is a kametz and it's doubled, so we're going to rule out kal here. We have a nafal. We have a nafal imperfect, and the tav with no ending tells us that we have either a third feminine singular or a second masculine singular. Because the subject she'erit is feminine, and because it's in construct with his people, we're going to be looking at the third feminine singular idea here. So it's going to be the remnant of his people, and then for kavatz, the nafal would be the passive of the kal. Kavatz is in the kal is to gather, so in the nafal would be to be gathered, and so the remnant of his people will be gathered. That's what the nafal meaning is here. Yachdav, together. So let's go back through the entire sentence here. In those days, the nations will seek the Lord, and the remnant of his people will be gathered together. Okay, we have one more to look at here, and that is Deuteronomy 7:18. And I'll read this. Zakor tizkor et asher asa Adonai Elohecha lefaro u lechol Mitzrayim. Okay, so we have Zakor, Tizkor. Whenever you see two of the same root put together, one looking like a finite verb, you can almost bet this is going to be a infinitive absolute. Not always, but it's a good clue that you want to look immediately and check out whether it's an infinitive absolute. And sure enough, you've got Zakor, which is your classic Cal infinitive absolute pattern. Notice that it is not written fully. You might expect us to see it Zakor with the Holem Vav. It can also be written defectively. We have Zakor. The fact that it's paired up with an imperfect verb here pretty much gives it away as being an infinitive absolute. We have Tizkor. This is a classic imperfect. We have Zakar, Tav prefix with a Hirik and a root 1 with a silent Shawah. So we have a Cal imperfect, and in this case it could be either 3FS or 2FS. I think we're looking at a statement that's being made to people directly, so it's going to be 2MS. So you will surely remember. In this case I'm translating the infinitive absolute with the imperfect pair as you will surely remember. Literally it's remembering, you will remember. So you will surely remember et asher asa, here's our direct object marker. And so asher here takes the meaning of what, particularly as a direct object. You will surely remember what asher asa Adonai Elohecha, what the Lord your God did, lefaro, to Pharaoh, ulechol, and to all Mitzrayim, and to all Egypt. So this is a good example of an infinitive absolute paired with a verb in the same root that's a finite verb, in this case an imperfect. Remembering you will remember, or you will surely remember, what the Lord your God did to Pharaoh and to all Egypt.